Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video. I'm going to be talking about some newly shown Hot Toys figures. This time we have from Disney Plus the Loki series, both Loki as well as Sylvie. So very excited about this. They teased these figures when the show was, going on kind of towards the end of it. They teased both figures, and they waited quite a while, which is, disappointing that they waited so long, especially since it's a little unusual, because with the other shows, by the end of the show, they, would release at least one figure, and this is the first figures and probably the only figures we're going to get from the series, and we're 4 months after it's done, or 4 months at least after it started, so it certainly took quite a while to get these figures. Glad we have them though, and I definitely wanted to talk about them, and I am going to be talking about them both in the same video, so I don't do that too often, but I figured these are very interconnected characters that have a lot of pictures that are of both of them in it too, so I figured I'd combine it and do one video to talk about them both. So let's get started here. Let's start off with Sylvie. So Sylvie, of course, being Lady Loki / Enchantress, but basically a female version of Loki or a variant of Loki. Overall, I think this is a solid looking figure. One thing that these figures both have in common is a great face sculpt. They both nail the face sculpt, I think. If I had to pick which is better, I would probably say Loki. But I think that they do a really solid job with both of the face sculpts for these characters. So I'm quite impressed with that. Especially being Sylvie, this is her, first go-around, the first time they've ever sculpted her likeness. While Loki, obviously Tom Hiddleston, they have some practice, so you'd hope that they'd improve. But I think that they just kind of knocked it out of the park this first go-around. I don't know if they've perfected their technique or something, but lately they've been killing it with face sculpts. The Shang-Chi face sculpts were really great as well, so very happy about this. So her face sculpt, again, I think it's quite nice. Expression-wise, I think it's very good. Typically I like figures with some serious expression, or if not serious expression, at least some sort of smirk or scowl, something. This figure is pretty blank, which is typically what Hot Toys does. However, I think that it actually fits the character quite well. She, character-wise, she played her cards very close to her vest. She didn't have a ton of expression. You really had to, or Loki had to be around her and really poke her to get some more backstory from her and to actually have her personality come out. But for a lot of it, she was very stern. So I think this expression actually quite fits. I like the crown piece. Hair looks quite good. Obviously sculpted, not rooted, thank God. I think that they've completely left the rooted hair in the background, because it doesn't look like they're doing it anymore. We haven't had a figure with rooted hair in quite a while. Costume-wise, I think that she looks very nice. I think the costume is perfect representation of her costume from the film. The one issue I have with it is not so much an issue with the costume, but it's the proportions. And I'll talk about it once she takes this kind of cloak piece off. But as you can see, she does have some accessories too, showcasing her powers. Both of them do, which I think is really nice. But overall, she looks very nice. The pants, they're pretty standard, but one thing that's nice about kind of those standard baggy pants is that her articulation is quite good, not hindered really at all. The jacket as well, it looks like it has a wire, at least in the edging here, maybe in the side as well, that would be cool, but at least on the side where it kind of closes, it definitely has a wire, which is nice, with the hood and everything too. Overall, the vest section looks quite nice. It has, the vest wasn't overly detailed in the film, and I think this represents the amount of detail that was in it in the film there. And she's got her sheath there holding the sword or the dagger. So this is my issue. When you take the poncho, the hoodie, whatever you want to call it, when you take that off, her proportions aren't perfect, I think. I think her head sculpt looks a little big. And that's something that with it on, you don't notice at all. Her head sculpt looks, or her proportions seem fine. But with it off, she has a little bit of a larger head, which I've noticed with some figures. Like the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn figure that's not quite out, but coming out. The preview pictures have the same type of thing, where there's one of those figures where you can actually kind of take off her jacket piece and give her the look where she's going into the police station, and her head looks a little large there because she doesn't have the jacket that kind of bulks everything up. So it's like they sculpted the head sculpt size-wise based on the jacket, but it's disappointing when you're going to have, different looks. So I wish that the head sculpt was scaled down a little bit. I think that would have definitely helped fix things. She still looks cool without the jacket, and to be honest, the majority of the show she doesn't have the jacket, or at least the best parts of the show or her character, she doesn't have the jacket. So I think that this is the look that a lot of people are going to want. I'd rather the head was in proportion with this look than the other look. But of course, just like this, especially from low angles like this is, it doesn't look bad. But from any high angle, it's definitely noticeable. They look awesome standing together, though. They really do. Face sculpts are just killer with them. Really love them. But again, I think that her best look is with that hoodie, and as you can see, it looks really nice. Obviously, fully movable. She has one of those. Oh God, I'm blanking on what they're called, but the sticks that like send you to the end of time. Very nice dagger. And going over what she comes with here. So she comes with a decent amount of accessories. So some things that they both come with, your standard stand, but also a backdrop, which is supposed to replicate the little kind of square portals that they walk through, which I think is really neat. I think that's fun to have. It's not something that I think would look great in a display, but it's great for pictures. If you want to set up a scene, that's pretty perfect. Then she comes with the. Oh, this was the villain's weapon, I believe, because she takes it from her and then she hits herself with it towards the end. But she comes with the stick there, the knife, 2 hands with the magical effect pieces. I really like the fact that those effect pieces are attached to the hand. That's really nice. It allows them to float a bit more than just having you kind of just put them in her hand. And then it means that they're sturdy, so you don't have to balance it or anything like that, which is awesome. She comes with the temp pad as well as one of those bombs that kind of erase everything or put everything back to normal. I think that this is a really cool effect. Again, it's something just like the backdrop. It's not great in your display. Like, it would look just kind of weird if you just had it on the shelf next to her, but for some photos it does, I think, is really neat. Moving on to the Hiddleston, we've got Loki here. This face sculpt, here's a nice close-up picture of it. I think this is phenomenal. Really into that face sculpt. I think it's fantastic. I don't think that they've ever done a bad face sculpt with him, but they do seem to progressively get better, and then they've hit the point where I would almost call it perfection. I mean, typically, face sculpts look better in person than they do in these photos because these photos are, high quality, really blown up. In person, it's a much smaller item, so any very small imperfections you almost don't notice, so it just looks better in person. So I feel like this is going to be just spot on in person because it looks spot on in these high-def photos. So overall, great face sculpt. I think the expression's nice. I like that his mouth is open a little bit. He could be like mid saying something or mid kind of coming up with a bit of a quip, or mid fight. That face sculpt really works for kind of all occasions, which I think is awesome. Overall, his costume, obviously, it's perfectly representative of him in the film, but the costume itself is less intense than Hot Toys is used to, I think. It's mainly just a suit, obviously square-tied, but just standard suited pants, dress shoes, rolled up, button up, and kind of a strap for his sword in the back there. But he comes with some magical accessories, and he comes with much cooler ones than her, I think. But as you can see, he comes with his jacket too, so he can do on or off. I can imagine that if you want to change them out frequently, it would be quite annoying. I know that, like the Red Skull figure, any figure that has long sleeves that then you want to put a jacket over, so another pair of long sleeves, it's always very difficult because the original sleeves kind of bunch up in there. So hopefully it won't be that difficult, but you can do both looks, jacket on or jacket off, beginning/mid-season to or versus the end of the season, basically. So I think that's really cool, and those daggers are really neat. He comes with some fun accessories too. He comes with a kind of computer that does show Miss Minutes on there, and he comes with 2 hologram Miss Minutes, which I think is neat. Not something that's like needed or that I would have been disappointed if they didn't include, but I think it's just nice that it comes with them. And Miss Minutes looks kind of translucent too, which I like, so it gives it that hologram feel. He comes with a sword, which is just briefly shown there in the corner. Comes with some magical effects that have a lot going on. I like that a lot, and just like Sylvie, they're attached to his hand, so you can do stuff like this without having to worry about them falling out, which is great. Here's a better shot of that sword, though. That's really neat. He didn't use it all that much in the film, but it's striking when he did use it, so it's nice that he comes with it. And then he comes with some just standard accessories that Sylvie also comes with. And then here's a close-up of Miss Minutes as well as the computer. I like that computer a lot. It almost makes me wish that they included kind of a chair and like a small desk for him. That would have been really neat. I'd be all over that if they included that. Even if it raised the price a little bit. Although I think that he is pretty high price-wise as is. I will go over that in a moment here. Let's go over those accessories as a whole. Great shots of the face sculpt. But as you can see, ton of accessories. He's got that computer. He has 2 Miss Minutes, different expressions. You kind of have the good and the evil. You've got the Tempad, the flammable sword, the sword unflamed. You've got the magical effects. You've got daggers. You've got the backdrop and the explosive, just like Sylvie, and then standard base. So overall, accessories are awesome. I don't really think of, I can't think of any accessories that I would want him to come with other than this. They really loaded him out with accessories, which I like. Again, only if they were going to do like a whole display type of thing where he comes with a desk to put that computer on and a chair, that would be pretty awesome. But, of course, not super needed. And if you have like a Joker, the Joker 2.0, you can kind of recreate that. I think I probably will, to be honest. I'd love to get some shots. Well, actually, I'm probably not going to get this figure. I want it, though, and the more that I'm talking about him, the more I want him. But let's talk about the actual details for the pre-orders here. So we've got Sylvie. She is $270, expected to release January to March of 2023. Release is a bit far off, but what are you going to do? It's kind of standard for them, that range there. $270. That is an okay price. I'm having trouble identifying how Hot Toys are pricing their figures. It's like they have like if it's a standard, just regular, size figure, they have basically 2 price points. It's either $250 or about $270, $280. So it's just strange. And, some things I would think would be in that $270 range that are $250 and vice versa. Especially with Loki, I would have thought it was in that $250. But even Sylvie, I would think, about $250 seems right for her. So the $270 is surprising to me. It's not outrageous, especially for Sylvie, for the fact that she does have a full costume. Like there's detailed tailoring as well as the fabrics are a lot more detailed with your Sylvie figure. With Loki, he's $275, same release date, but Loki surprises me because Loki's got a very standard costume. I would have definitely expected this to be a $250 figure, so I think that $275 is overpriced for Loki. $270 is maybe a little overpriced or, on par for Sylvie. But Loki, I think that he's overpriced just due to the fact that he has a very simple costume, something that, people could kit bash really easy. It's just a suit, and then, you take one of the million other Loki head sculpts that they've released and put it on it. So you can do it very easily. So I think that it's disappointing how expensive that he is. Because, looking at this Shang-Chi figures, those all have very detailed costumes, especially Wen Wu, with crazy accessories for the rings, and then of course new head sculpts and detailed head sculpts, and they're $250. So I would definitely put Loki in that class. So I'm disappointed in the price. It's not outrageous, but it is more than it should be, I think, and I think rightfully so. It's more than it should be. Overall, do I plan to get either of these? When I first saw that they were put on, or the pictures came out, this morning, I was like, oh, that's neat, but I don't need either of them. And I'm still that way with Sylvie. Sylvie is a character that I thought she was very good in the show. She wasn't a character that I really gravitated towards, though, to be honest. She was all right for what she was. I have no, solid complaints, but she didn't really jump out at me, not like a character that I loved from the show or anything. So Sylvie's an easy pass for me. Loki, however, if the face sculpt was just kind of standard, I think I really wouldn't be craving the figure very much. The face sculpt is so good, though, and the accessories seem so fun that I'm heavily tempted. So we'll see. Maybe that temptation will subside as we go along. But right now, I am quite tempted. I'll be interested to see this look for Loki, if it lasts. If I would imagine that for season 2 he'll look like this. But particularly, I'm interested to see if we'll get this look for him in a film. I'll be interested to see if that translates or if he'll go back to kind of the standard Asgardian type of garb. So we'll see. Overall, though, heavily tempted with Loki. Sylvie is a pass for me, although I think that she looks like a very good figure. So there you go. That's my thoughts on these 2 figures from the Loki Disney Plus series, being Sylvie and Loki himself. Well, let me know what you guys think of these figures, and thanks so much for watching.